Today we welcome you to this heartfelt space where memories live on. Together, we'll honor the legends we've recently lost, celebrate their incredible journeys, and hold their legacies close. We'll also talk about WWE icon R-Truth, who continues to inspire millions of fans through his strength, dedication, and never-give-up spirit. Subscribe now and join our supportive family that keeps their stories alive.
Giant Baba, born Shohei Baba on January 23, 1938, was one of the most influential figures in professional wrestling history. Towering at 6 feet 10 inches, he was an unmistakable presence both inside and outside the ring. Despite his imposing size, Baba was known for his calm demeanor, sharp mind, and deep respect for the sport that defined his life. He began his wrestling journey in the 1950s, quickly making a name for himself with a rare combination of technical ability, grace, and showmanship. His talent soon caught international attention, and in the 1960s he ventured to the United States to compete in major promotions, including the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF. During this time, Baba faced off against many of the biggest stars in wrestling, helping to bridge the gap between Japanese and American audiences. His success overseas not only elevated his own reputation, but also shone a spotlight on Japanese wrestling, opening doors for future generations of wrestlers from Japan. Baba's greatest legacy, however, came upon his return to Japan. In 1972, he founded All Japan Pro Wrestling, AJPW, an organization that would go on to redefine the industry. Under his leadership, AJPW became renowned for its emphasis on storytelling, athleticism, and respect for in-ring competition. Baba had a remarkable eye for talent, nurturing future legends such as Mitsuharu Misawa, Toshiaki Kawada, and Jumbo Tsuruta. His vision helped shape a golden era of Japanese wrestling that inspired fans around the world. Throughout his career, Baba captured numerous titles, including the prestigious NWA World Heavyweight Championship, but his true legacy was his role as a mentor and promoter. Even after stepping away from active competition in the late 1990s, he remained deeply involved in guiding the sport he loved. When Giant Baba passed away from cancer in 1999, the wrestling world lost not just a legend, but a pioneer whose influence continues to resonate. His towering figure, both literal and symbolic, remains a cornerstone of professional wrestling history, remembered for his integrity, leadership, and the respect he brought to the sport. Beautiful Bobby Eaton, born on August 14, 1958 in Huntsville, Alabama, was one of professional wrestling's most respected and beloved performers. Known for his exceptional skill, quiet humility, and natural connection with fans, Eaton built a career that spanned decades and left an enduring mark on the sport. Eaton began wrestling in the late 1970s, quickly earning a reputation for his agility, technical mastery, and ability to make every match feel special. Whether competing as a singles wrestler or as part of a team, he had an unmatched talent for storytelling in the ring. Fans and fellow wrestlers alike admired how effortlessly he could adapt to any opponent or style, always making his matches exciting and believable. Of course, Eaton is best remembered as one half of the legendary tag team, the Midnight Express. Teaming first with Dennis Condrey and later with Stan Lane, Eaton helped redefine tag team wrestling during the 1980s and early 1990s. Guided by their fiery manager Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express became one of the most celebrated and technically gifted teams in wrestling history. Their matches against rivals like the Rock and Roll Express and the Fantastics are still talked about today as some of the finest examples of tag team storytelling ever seen. Eaton's performances were marked by creativity and precision. His signature move, the Alabama Jam, a stunning top rope leg drop, showcased both his athleticism and fearless dedication to entertaining the crowd. Despite his immense talent, Eaton was known for his modesty and kindness backstage. He was a wrestler's wrestler, someone everyone respected, trusted, and loved working with. Tragically, Bobby Eaton passed away in 2021, but his influence continues to resonate throughout the wrestling world. Many modern wrestlers cite him as a major inspiration, both for his professionalism and his ability to make everyone he worked with look their best. Beautiful Bobby, Eaton remains a symbol of what makes professional wrestling special. Heart, craftsmanship, and a genuine love for the fans. His legacy ensures that he will never be forgotten. Mantaur, born Matt McGraw on May 14, 1968 in Wisconsin, was an American professional wrestler remembered for his larger-than-life presence and unforgettable persona. Standing 6 feet tall and weighing over 300 pounds, McGraw perfectly embodied the monster archetype that wrestling fans have long adored. His combination of size, strength, and showmanship made him a standout performer during a colorful era in professional wrestling. McGraw began his wrestling career in the early 1990s, quickly making a name for himself on the independent circuit before catching the attention of the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. It was there that he adopted the persona of Mantaur, a half-man, half-beast character inspired by the mythical Minotaur. Donning a bull-like mask and charging toward his opponents with primal roars, Mantaur became one of the most distinctive and talked-about gimmicks of the mid-1990s. His powerful style in the ring, mixed with theatrical flair, made him both an intimidating and entertaining figure to watch. Though Mantaur never captured major championship gold during his time in the WWF, his character left a lasting impression on fans. His matches against some of the era's top stars showcased not only his physical prowess, but also his willingness to fully commit to one of wrestling's most unique and creative roles. Even after his run in the WWF ended, McGraw continued to perform in various independent promotions, keeping his passion for wrestling alive and sharing his craft with new audiences. Beyond the bull mask and the spectacle, those who knew McGraw often described him as kind-hearted, humble, and deeply dedicated to the sport he loved. Sadly, Mantaur passed away at the age of 55, leaving behind a legacy that continues to resonate with wrestling fans around the world. While his time in the spotlight was relatively brief, his creativity, charisma, and larger-than-life character have earned him a permanent place in wrestling history. Mantaur remains a beloved figure, a reminder of the imagination and personality that make professional wrestling so memorable. Buddy Rogers, born Herman Rowe Jr. on February 20th, 1921, in Camden, New Jersey, was a trailblazer in the world of professional wrestling. Long before Ric Flair made the Nature Boy famous, Rogers was the original. A charismatic showman who combined technical mastery with unmatched swagger. With his confident strut, slick-back hair, and cocky grin, he knew exactly how to draw both cheers and jeers from the crowd. Rogers wasn't just a wrestler. He was one of the first true sports entertainers, helping to define what modern wrestling would eventually become. Rogers' career reached its peak in 1961 when he defeated Pat O'Connor to become the first ever WWE, then WWF World Heavyweight Champion. That victory cemented his place among wrestling's all-time greats. Known for his arrogance and flamboyant personality, Rogers perfected the art of playing the heel. The villain fans loved to hate. He could rile up an audience like few others, using his words and presence as effectively as his moves in the ring. Behind the bravado, though, was a skilled and innovative wrestler who helped shape the technical side of the sport as well. Even after retiring from active competition in the 1970s, Rogers' influence continued to be felt. He mentored younger talents, shared his knowledge of the business, and made occasional appearances in wrestling promotions. However, as the years went on, his health began to decline. He suffered from several medical issues, including a stroke, which ultimately led to his passing on June 26, 1992. Buddy Rogers' death marked the end of an era, but his legacy has lived on through the generations that followed. Ric Flair, among others, openly credited Rogers as a major inspiration for his own Nature Boy persona. The confidence, flair, and drama that Rogers brought to the ring still echo in professional wrestling today. He wasn't just a performer, he was a pioneer who helped turn wrestling into the spectacle millions love. Buddy Rogers remains a cornerstone of wrestling history, remembered as one of the sport's first and greatest icons. Ronnie Aaron Killings, better known to millions of wrestling fans around the world as R-Truth, is a man whose journey through the chaotic, unpredictable world of professional wrestling reads like a story of faith, resilience, and unshakable positivity. Born on January 19, 1972, in Charlotte, North Carolina, Killings has long been a rare figure in sports entertainment, a performer who can make audiences laugh uncontrollably one moment and inspire them the next. Standing at 6 feet 1 inch tall and weighing around 220 pounds, he is a living example of endurance, versatility, and creative reinvention. For more than 2 decades, R-Truth has brought laughter, rhythm, and joy to WWE audiences, becoming one of the company's most beloved figures. But behind his signature smile and infectious energy, the last few years have tested him more deeply than perhaps any period of his storied career. Between lingering injury issues, uncertainty about his WWE future, and quiet financial pressures that often accompany aging athletes, Killings finds himself in a reflective but determined chapter of life, one where he continues to fight for relevance, stability, and the opportunity to entertain fans once again. A trailblazer with a unique legacy. Before understanding his current situation, it's important to appreciate the trail R-Truth has blazed. In an industry that has not always been kind to performers of color, Ronnie Killings broke significant ground when he captured the NWA World Heavyweight Championship during his tenure with Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, TNA. At the time, he was the first African American to hold that historic title, a distinction that placed him in the company of wrestling's great pioneers. When he returned to WWE, R-Truth redefined what it meant to connect with audiences. He was not always the world champion, but he was often the heartbeat of a segment, the glue in a storyline, or the laughter in a show that needed levity. From his humorous alliance with The Miz, to his on-screen friendship with Carmella, and of course his iconic invisible friend Little Jimmy, R-Truth turned even the simplest of ideas into unforgettable entertainment. His mastery of timing, crowd engagement, and charisma gave him a place in WWE history that few others can replicate. But that long road of physical storytelling, countless bumps, dives, and falls, inevitably came with a cost that only now is becoming clearer. The injury that changed everything. In late 2022, R-Truth suffered what would become one of the most significant setbacks of his career, a serious quadriceps tear during a match against Grayson Waller on WWE NXT. The injury, sustained while attempting a high-risk move, immediately halted the bout and sent shockwaves through fans who knew that for a man in his early 50s, a torn quad is no small matter. Such injuries require not only surgery, but also months of physical therapy, rehabilitation, and patience. Something that can be difficult for a lifelong performer whose identity is built on energy and motion. For R-Truth, whose physical agility has always been a defining part of his act, Mantaur, from his quick-footed entrances to his energetic dance routines, the injury was not just a physical hurdle, it was an emotional one. Recovery meant months away from fans, cameras, and the very rhythm of the life he'd known for over 30 years. In interviews following the injury, R-Truth admitted that the rehab process was the hardest fight of his life, revealing that even simple daily movements were a struggle during the early stages of healing. When he made his comeback in late 2023, fans rejoiced, welcoming him back with warmth and gratitude. Yet for many it was clear that something had changed. R-Truth was moving more cautiously, and though his comedic instincts were sharper than ever, the explosive bursts of motion that once defined his matches had slowed. WWE wisely adjusted his on-screen role, using him more in backstage segments and lighthearted skits, protecting him from unnecessary risk. But for R-Truth, a man who thrives on crowd energy and physical performance, the adjustment was bittersweet. The ring was his stage, his sanctuary, and not being able to perform at full capacity was a painful reminder of both age and mortality in an unforgiving industry. Behind the curtain, health challenges and financial strain. Though R-Truth has rarely spoken publicly about it, those close to him have quietly acknowledged that his health challenges have affected not only his career trajectory, but also his financial stability. WWE stars, even popular ones, do not all share the same earnings. For performers like R-Truth, whose current role leans more toward entertainment segments than high-profile main events, paydays are smaller than they were during his peak years. Extended time off due to injury can also mean lost merchandise royalties and reduced exposure. While WWE covers medical expenses related to in-ring injuries, Recovery periods often limit outside opportunities, live appearances, endorsements, and music performances, all of which had once supplemented R-Truth's income. For a performer who has long supported family, charitable causes, and his own creative ventures, the slowdown in work brought added financial pressure. Despite this, those who know Killings describe him as relentlessly optimistic. He continues to record music independently, using his passion for hip-hop to stay creative during downtime. His songs, often upbeat and full of self-affirmation, reflect his belief that every setback is just another verse in the story. Friends have said that he refuses to let financial stress cloud his outlook, often reminding others that faith and hustle never expire. But there's no denying that the wrestling business can be tough on aging stars. As newer, younger talent emerge and the corporate side of WWE continues to evolve under the TKO Group Holdings merger with UFC, many veterans are finding themselves reassessing their futures. And R-Truth is no exception. Career crossroads, wrestler, entertainer, or mentor. Behind the scenes, there has been ongoing discussion about R-Truth's long-term role in WWE. Some company officials reportedly see value in transitioning him to a non-wrestling role. Perhaps as a backstage interviewer, producer, or even as a mentor for younger talent. His natural charisma and deep understanding of performance psychology make him an ideal teacher for developing stars who struggle to connect with crowds. Others, however, believe that his presence on screen remains too valuable to lose, arguing that few performers generate genuine joy among audiences the way R-Truth does. The debate reflects a broader tension within WWE: how to honor legacy performers without overexposing their physical vulnerabilities. For R-Truth, that balance is deeply personal. He has made it clear in several interviews that he wants to continue wrestling as long as the people still want to see me out there, emphasizing that his passion hasn't dimmed even if his body sometimes resists his ambitions. Yet the practical realities remain. WWE's merger and subsequent restructuring have already led to roster cuts and strategic changes. High-salaried veterans are often the first to be evaluated when budget adjustments occur. Some reports suggested that R-Truth's contract, set to expire in mid-2025, could be converted to a Legends contract, a deal that allows performers to make appearances without the demands of full-time wrestling. While that arrangement offers stability and continued association with WWE, it also marks a transition away from active competition. For R-Truth, that kind of move would be emotionally significant, an acknowledgement that a certain chapter of his life is closing. Yet if anyone could turn such a change into something positive and creative, it's him. Rumors, reality, and the weight of expectation. In recent months, as social media tends to do, rumors about R-Truth's future have spread faster than facts. Some online sources have speculated that WWE may quietly phase him out of television in favor of younger acts. Others claim that he might leave wrestling altogether to focus on music or acting. However, those close to Killings have repeatedly pushed back against such claims. According to several credible outlets, WWE values R-Truth's reliability, humor, and professionalism, traits that make him an easy fit for any locker room. He remains one of the most respected veterans in the company, often acting as a morale booster backstage. Yet the uncertainty surrounding his health has also fueled speculation. Even with successful surgery and physical therapy, recovery from a quadriceps tear can leave lasting stiffness and reduced mobility, which in the high-impact world of pro wrestling can be limiting. Adding to the complexity is the emotional toll of public speculation. R-Truth's brand has always been built on connection. He thrives on fan engagement, on hearing laughter and cheers. To see his future debated online, often without context or compassion, can be disheartening. Still, Killings has remained gracious, occasionally using humor to address the chatter. When one fan tweeted concern about his retirement, he responded simply, "I ain't done spreading smiles yet." That mix of honesty and positivity has long been his secret weapon, a way to deflect negativity without feeding it. Fan loyalty and the legacy question. The bond between R-Truth and the WWE Universe runs deeper than most performer-fan relationships. For over 20 years, he has been a fixture of entertainment. the comic relief during tense storylines, the underdog who could surprise anyone with sudden athletic brilliance. Fans have grown protective of him, often voicing frustration that WWE doesn't give him enough credit for his accomplishments outside comedy. On social media platforms like Twitter/X and Reddit, threads regularly appear demanding that WWE give him a farewell tour or a thank you storyline, similar to those given to other legends. Supporters argue that he deserves the kind of spotlight that reflects both sides of his legacy, the entertainer and the trailblazer. Others, however, have acknowledged a more bittersweet reality. WWE's business model has changed, and time moves quickly. With new stars rising every year, the company's focus is increasingly on youth, branding, and global appeal. In that environment, veterans like R-Truth can sometimes be overlooked. Yet even in a reduced role, his segments consistently rank among the most viewed on social media, proof that charisma and authenticity never go out of style. Fans' loyalty to him is rooted in something simple: sincerity. They know R-Truth's laughter isn't an act, it's his essence. And that authenticity is what keeps his legacy alive even as the spotlight shifts elsewhere. Health and healing, the ongoing battle. Even now, R-Truth continues to manage the lingering effects of his injuries. Quadriceps tears, particularly for athletes past 50, can lead to secondary complications such as joint stiffness, inflammation, and chronic pain. Those close to him say that he continues to undergo physical therapy and strength conditioning to maintain flexibility and mobility. Though he rarely discusses it publicly, insiders have mentioned that he sometimes experiences fatigue and soreness after even minor performances. Yet he refuses to let that define him. In recent interviews, R-Truth has said that recovery taught him humility and patience, lessons that extend beyond wrestling. He has openly credited his family, his faith, and his fans for keeping him grounded through the slow, frustrating months of rehabilitation. "When you've been going nonstop for 30 years, he once said, slowing down feels like punishment, but sometimes slowing down is what saves you." There's also a mental health dimension to his story. Being sidelined can create feelings of isolation and self-doubt for any performer, and the transition from constant travel and performance to long stretches of recovery can be emotionally jarring. R-Truth has admitted that he had to work hard to stay positive during his rehab, using meditation, music, and writing as outlets for expression. His renewed focus on mindfulness and self-care has inspired other wrestlers, many of whom credit him for promoting balance in a business known for burnout and physical sacrifice. Financial reality and life after wrestling. No conversation about longevity in wrestling is complete without addressing the financial realities. While WWE's top stars earn millions annually, many veterans rely on contractual appearances, merchandise sales, and fan conventions to sustain income after active competition. For R-Truth, the question of financial security is not about wealth, but stability. After decades of travel and performance, he has begun thinking about life beyond the ring, how to sustain himself and his family while staying connected to fans. Although he remains under WWE contract as of 2025, insiders note that he has been carefully planning for the future, exploring opportunities in acting, podcasting, and motivational speaking. This transition mirrors what many former wrestlers face: the delicate process of redefining purpose once the roar of the crowd fades. R-Truth's pragmatic approach suggests he understands this balance better than most. He has often said that, "Wrestling gave me everything, but it can't be everything forever." The road ahead: hope, humor, and healing. As R-Truth continues to navigate this uncertain but hopeful chapter of his life, one thing remains clear: he's not finished yet. Whether in a comedic backstage skit, a surprise Royal Rumble appearance, or a heartfelt farewell speech years from now, he will keep giving his all until the very last day he steps through the curtain. His story is not defined by the injuries he suffered or the financial difficulties he endured. It's defined by how he turned them into fuel for reinvention. The wrestling world may be moving faster than ever, but legends like R-Truth remind fans of something timeless: that laughter, resilience, and heart are the true currencies of greatness. In a business built on larger-than-life characters, Ronnie Killings has always been something even rarer, a genuine soul. And whether he's rapping, dancing, or cracking jokes in the middle of chaos, his message remains the same. Keep smiling, keep believing, and keep moving forward. Because for R-Truth, the truth has always been simple. No matter what life throws at him, the show must go on.